Welcome to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Para Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. It is game day preview time, and it is round 6 in the NRL, and the Parramatta Eels are travelling all the way up to the top end of Australia, to the Northern Territory, to play in Darwin. It is their 11th season up there, and it all started way back in 2014. Ironically, against a Canberra team as well, actually. Parramatta got the win on that day, 18 points to 10. Bit of that later on in the show. But look, this is the last game of the contract that Parramatta has with the Northern Territory government. Now, look, a lot of fans are happy about that one. Look, I think that's probably because Parramatta have lost the last 3 in a row, so that is probably why. But look, there is also a thing of which team we take up to Darwin each and every year. Also, it does take away our home game potentially here at CommBank Stadium. Look, who knows what Parramatta will do next season, whether they look to take that to a regional area in either New South Wales, Queensland, and still have that game away from CommBank, or will they add another home game to CommBank Stadium as well? So, look, just watch this space in terms of what they will do next year. I guess everyone will know definitely for sure in November when the draw comes out, but look, they are probably looking at options as we speak for next season and what they will do there. Now, round 6 of the NRL, as I mentioned before, Parramatta take on the Canberra Raiders. The Canberra Raiders, they sit in 7th position on the ladder, and Parramatta are unfortunately still in 17th, even though they had that win against the Dragons last week and in Golden Point extra time, the boot of Zach Lomax. Now, there is no Zach Lomax this week and for a few more weeks, unfortunately. It's about 6 to 8, possibly 10 weeks with a minor fracture in his foot. So both of our, I guess you could say, top-line players, Zach Lomax and Mitchell Moses, are out with foot injuries at the moment, which is no good. Let's hope Zach's foot recovers a lot better than Mitchell's one. Mitchell's recovered last year, and then it's flared up again this year. So they can be a bit testy, the old foot injuries, especially with blood flow down to that area. So hopefully, as I said, Zach's will improve over the coming weeks, and he will be back in action for Parramatta. Probably ruling him out of game number 1 for State of Origin, but who knows about game number 2 and 3? We'll just have to wait and see. But from a fan's perspective, let's just hope it gets better quickly and we see him back in the blue and gold, winning games like he did last week against the Dragons. Now, look, if we just, before we get into Saturday's game, if we just go to a few stats of these two sides playing each other. Now, the stats that I get are from Rugby League Project online, so if you ever need a Rugby League stat, just type in Rugby League Project and they will have what you need to know. They are doing some great stuff on there. So thank you very much, guys and girls at Rugby League Project, for the work that you do. That's where I get all my rugby league stats from. Now, in overall, the Canberra Raiders have been in the competition since 1982. There has been 67 matches played. Now, there has been 67 matches played, 35 won by the Canberra Raiders and 32 won by the Parramatta Eels. So very sort of neck and neck, you could say. In those 67 matches, the Canberra Raiders have scored 1,370 points, Parramatta Eels 1,393 points. Now, in terms of being played at TIO Stadium. I believe I can see here they played in 2014, as I mentioned before. Parramatta got the chocolates that day, 18 points to 10. And they also played in 2019. Parramatta won again, 22 points to 16. So they played twice up there, and for 2 victories to the Parramatta Eels. Now, in terms of players that have played for both teams, because I always like seeing this sort of stuff in terms of players that have played for both clubs. Some may be more memorable for one club than the other, but certainly I will know the Parramatta ones. But look, there has been some great players that have played for both clubs. Some absolute legends that have played for Canberra, that is for sure, and Parramatta. I mean, who am I joking? But look, when it comes to playing for both clubs, Brad Drew, he played at Parramatta, obviously, first of all, and then went to the Canberra Raiders. And so he's one of the most notable there, good old Drewy. Great bloke, Brad Drew. Blake Ferguson, probably the most recent player, I'd say, most recent Parramatta player that has retired anyway, to have played for both clubs. Obviously started his career at the Canberra Raiders, moved to, I think, the Cronulla Sharks, and then to the Roosters as well, before landing at Parramatta. So he was another one there. Look, the other Highmarsh brother, Ian Highmarsh. Now, he started off at Parramatta, and then I think he went to Canberra, and then I think he came back to Parramatta for one more year, I think it was. So the other Highmarsh brother, and look, he was a great worker. Ian Highmarsh, like his brother Nathan, he was a bit of a tackling machine as well. I always remember that field goal that he kicked for Parramatta. I'm pretty sure, now I just said I'll always remember, and I really should, but I think it was against Penrith. So if anyone can remember that one, please get in touch with me and jog my memory and see if I am right, if it is against the Panthers. Josh Hodgson, actually he would be the most recent player to have retired that have played for both clubs, actually. He obviously started off his career at Canberra, had the one season at the Parramatta Eels, and he's now in junior pathways coaching in the junior pathways at Parramatta, doing a great job. All those sides have made the finals, so that is great news. Michael Hodgson as well, started off at Para, went down to Canberra, and I think played for Canterbury as well. As we go down the list, now it says Rod Mayborn, but I don't remember Rod Mayborn playing for Canberra, but he did in 1999, so there you go. Don't remember that one, but certainly played fullback for the Parramatta Eels. I remember that one. Justin Morgan as well, played for both clubs. I think now the assistant coach up at the Cowboys. Andrew McFadden as well. I think it was 2003 he might have been at Parramatta, but most notably at Canberra. Look, who can forget one of the players that is actually playing on the weekend? Junior Paulo. Obviously had that season, started off at Parramatta, then had those couple of seasons down at the Raiders, and then came back to Parramatta, and is currently still playing and had a cracker of a game against the Dragons. So let's hope he can replay that form against the Raiders as well, one of his former clubs. Reece Robinson, Clinton Schifofsky as well. Started off at the Crushers up in South Queensland, came to Parramatta and then went down to Canberra. He's currently a player agent, I think, as well. So Another player that could possibly be playing, now no word of this one as yet, Bailey Simonson, Canberra and now Parramatta. One of my favourite ever Parramatta players, also played at Canberra as well, Jason Smith. He came over with the Big Four during the 90s, and David Wesley, big front rower as well. So there has been a few there that have played for both clubs. Some great names there. Brings back some great memories too, to be honest. But look, in terms of games that have been played, look, let me just go back to... Let's go back to 2022, the semi-final at CommBank Stadium, 40 points to 4. That was a cracking game. Murata Niokore, 2 tries. Mitchell Moses, 6 from 8. That was a great event. 29,134 at that game. And of course, after winning that one, go to Townsville and beat the Cowboys. That was a cracker of a game. Now, we did play Canberra at CommBank Stadium in 2020. It was a 25-24 win to Parramatta. Now, that was during COVID times, and the crowd was only 560. And you will remember, I am pretty sure in that game, Corey Horsburgh, he caused a bit of a scene. It's pretty well known. You can jump on YouTube and check it out. But he was pretty upset with the crowd. I think it was. He gave the bird to the crowd. I think he got injured in that game as well, and had to be taken off. 2019, that was the last time these two sides played up at TIO Stadium in Darwin. It was a win to Parramatta, 22 points to 16, as I said. 2 tries to Blake Ferguson. Manu Ma'u, one of my favourite ever Parramatta Eels players. He scored a try as well as Mitchell Moses, and he kicked 3 from 4. And the first game that was played up in Darwin, 2014, that was an 18-10 win to Parramatta over the Raiders. Jared Hayne, 2 tries that day. The most memorable one I can think of is the pass from David Gower, who currently works at the Parramatta Eels. It was a cracking ball to Jared, and Jared just sprinted away and scored. I remember that try, that is for sure. I think we wore pretty much the Auckland Nines jersey that was on at the time. I think we wore that one in 2014 as well. Look, 2018, I'm skipping a little bit forward there. 2018, I'll come back to that one actually, because it wasn't against the Raiders. It was more against up in Darwin. Looking through the list here, there certainly has been some other famous games between these two clubs. There was one at Parramatta Stadium in 1987. Now, at half-time, Parramatta were behind. I think it was like 20-0, something like that. It could have even been 22-0. And I do believe that the Parramatta Eels players got booed off the field at half-time by the Parramatta faithful, and they came back in the second half and absolutely blitzed it, 30 points to 22. They got the win against Canberra. Bob Lidner, 2 tries that day. Former guest on the podcast, John Muggleton, 5 out of 6. So that was probably a really memorable game, that one. These two teams have also played at... I'm thinking of somebody. They both have played over at the Wacker, but just not against each other. That's right. There we go. There. Look, the other famous game, and I guess for Raiders fans anyway, I just have to include them as well. August 22, 1993. Look, Raiders fans will probably want to forget that game, even though they did win 68 points to nil. I think this is Parramatta's worst ever defeat in rugby league, 68 points to nil, but it was the day that Ricky Stewart, unfortunately for you Canberra Raiders fans, broke his ankle in that game. So Canberra then went out in straight sets in the finals. They were looking really good all the way up until that point there. But unfortunately that happened to Ricky Stewart, and Canberra just basically went out in straight sets. Okay, let's go to Darwin games now. And look, favourite memories of Darwin, obviously that Jared Hayne try. That was pretty amazing there. Now, I was fortunate enough in 2018 to get up to Darwin to watch the game, and that game was between the Parramatta Eels and the North Queensland Cowboys. Jared Hayne scored 2 tries on that day, and one number 14 on that day was Reid Marnie. He was making his first grade debut that day, so I'll always remember that day. Look, if you are lucky enough to be up in Darwin, or have been to Darwin, you'll know what a great trip it is. Very different to a Sydney game or a Queensland game. The humidity is amazing up there, so drink lots of water. That's probably what Brad Arthur is known for as well up there in the top end. The amount of bottles of water that he used to have in front of him. I don't know whether he drank any of them or all of them, or whether it was a sponsorship thing or what, but certainly had him lined up in front of him. Look, what else we got? We got I think it was Mitchell Moses' try where he kicked it and then ran around over the sideline, came back in and got it. That was a great memory there. Now, look, in recent times, it hasn't been too good of a hunting ground for the Eels. They've lost the last 3 there, but hoping to change that result, obviously, this weekend. Started off in 2014 with 3 wins, then a loss, then 3 wins, and then 3 losses. So, hoping to go out with a bang and get a win, that is for sure. Now, look, to this game on Saturday night, 7:35 p.m. in the eastern states, 7:05 p.m. up there in the territory. Now, I do believe that the team flew up today being Thursday when I record this, so the team has flown up. They are up in the Northern Territory as we speak. Let's just go through the Parramatta lineup. Now, this is of Tuesday. This is the lineup as of Tuesday. Isaiah Iongi, Josh Adokar, Will Penasini, Sean Russell, Zach Lomax has been named, but we do know that he will not play. His replacement at the moment, we do not know who that will be. We'll find that out probably Friday night, I guess. Look, there has been a little bit of talk that Bailey Simonson might get that spot. He has played a couple of games back in New South Wales Cup after a knee injury, so he may get that spot. Who else can take it? Maybe Jordan Samrani, if the NRL approve him to play again, if Parramatta apply for a dispensation and the NRL accept it, maybe he goes onto the wing. We'll just have to wait and see. Dylan Brown, Dean Hawkins, Joe Offahangawi, Riley Smith has been named at number 9, starting number 9, just like he was last week. And we'll just have to wait and see if that changes again. But I think he will start this game. And I think Riley's going to have a really big impact in this game. Why do you ask? I think just because I actually think Tom Starling and Riley Smith are very key to their sides, both of their respective sides. The reason being, as we know, the humidity up there in Darwin can be pretty bad. It's like a sweat box up there, so any fans going up there for the game, make sure you got your shorts and singlets on, I guess. But I just think these two guys, we saw it last year with Jeremy Marshall-King for the Dolphins, just cutting Parramatta to shreds up the middle there. I think these two can do the same thing, and I'm really keen to see how Riley goes as well. And I think he will start the game, to be honest. Junior Paulo, Sean Lane, Kitione Kotoga, Jermaine Hopgood rounds out the starting team. Dylan Walker, Luca Moretti, Charlie Geimer, Sam Tuivati as well. The extended bench, Joash Papali'i, Dan Keir, Bailey Simonson, that man I mentioned before, who may take Zach Lomax's spot. Ronald Volkman and Ryan Madison is number 22, and they are coached by Jason Riles. You look at the Canberra Raiders side, and look, they haven't made any changes to the one that defeated the Sharks down there in Canberra, 24 points to 20. They scored. Sebastian Chris scored one of the tries of the year so far. It's going to take a lot of beating, I think, but that was in the 78th minute, so they got the win against the Sharks. They've named an unchanged lineup. Last time these two sides played, it was Canberra who got the Chocolates 41 points to 8. That was down at GIO Stadium in Canberra. 7 tries to 2 on that occasion. So they got the form last year, has played around the same sort of time as this year, round 5, obviously different location this time. So, look, the key for Parramatta, again, is to shore up their defence on the edges, get off to that good start, don't give away penalties, perhaps lead from the start. I was very surprised last week when they took the 2 points instead of continuing on with that pressure against the Dragons. I thought maybe they would have kept that pressure going, but they took the 2 points. It was the first time they led all season in a game, so perhaps that will give them confidence as well. Look, goal kicking. That is going to be an interesting one for Parramatta with no Mitchell Moses and no Zach Lomax, who will take over the kicking role. Now, apparently Dean Hawkins, he can goal kick. I haven't seen him goal kick, but I have seen Sean Russell. He is a goal kicker as well. I would probably think that Sean Russell will get the goal kicking duties. So, obviously, it doesn't get the goal kicking duties that often at Parramatta, but he can knock them over. But look, when you've got the sharpshooters like Zach Lomax and Mitchell Moses in your team, you can almost, I'm not saying every time, but almost guarantee it'll be 6 points instead of 4 after tries. So we saw that last week with Zach Lomax kicking a penalty goal from 45 metres out. But yeah, I believe that Sean Russell will be the goal kicker for Parramatta. Different kicking game, obviously, with Jamal Fogarty and Dean Hawkins as well. That will be crucial for both their sides' chances. I think Canberra will like their chances in the middle. Josh Papali'i, Joe Tarpany as well, the captain. Hudson Young, he's a player to watch out for the Canberra Raiders side. Matty Nicholson, the Englishman who's come over and set the NRL on fire in his first few games. Absolutely, he's been scoring tries and playing some great footy as well. So, look, as I said, the confidence will be there for Parramatta after last week's win. It's going to be a tough ask against the Raiders, who, look, they've done a bit of travel over the start of this competition. They started off, obviously, over there in Las Vegas. They've been to Townsville as well, and Canberra. Now now the Northern Territory. So they have done a little bit of travel. I think they may have went up to the Northern Territory yesterday, yesterday being Wednesday. So maybe just to get that extra little bit of acclimatisation. I do believe they went up early last week as well for the Townsville game as well to get used to that humidity. So look, it could be the same sort of weather in Townsville than it is in Darwin as well. So smart move by them to get there early and acclimatise to the conditions up there in Townsville. So maybe that's why they've done the same thing as well, leaving a day earlier than the Parramatta Eels to get up to Darwin. Now, look, Darwin on Saturday, there is a 90% chance of rain, so this will be interesting as well, how that takes part in the game. So if it's raining, then it will be pretty treacherous conditions, I think. And the humidity will be absolutely amazing when it rains up there. The humidity just comes up from the ground, and it's a place to be as well. I mean, as I said, I was up there in 2018. I had my shorts. I think I might have a singlet on as well, I think, or a t-shirt, and it may have even been my first ever game that I went to where I wore thongs. There you go. I wore thongs to the game, and that was probably the first ever time that I have worn thongs to a rugby league game. Normally it's shoes, but not in the top end. I was wearing thongs. There you go. There's a takeout from my memories of going to the Darwin game in 2018. Look, let's go to a few predictions. I think this will be 30 points to 20 in favour of Parramatta. I think, look, even without Zach Lomax in this team, I think it is a huge loss. It's a massive loss. We have seen the carts that he takes out from our own end. Obviously his goal kicking as well, and he is a potential threat out there on the edges for high kicks across field as well. And look, no doubt he is a massive loss. But look, I think 30 points to 20, Parramatta to win. I'm going to say, I forget who I said on the Talking Para podcast on Tuesday as my first try scorer. I think I may have gone. I think I may have gone Sean Russell. I think I usually go Will Penasini, and I love going Will Penasini as a first try scorer, but I think I may have gone Sean Russell as a first try scorer. Bold prediction I did on Tuesday night on the Talking Para podcast live show on Facebook. So if you're a Para fan, then tune into that one on Tuesday nights, 8:15 on Facebook. I think I said Riley Smith to kick a 40-20 and run over 100 metres, because I just think he's going to find those gaps up the middle, and I think he could be the difference between these two sides. As I said, we saw what Jeremy Marshall-King did last year to the big Parramatta forwards. I think Riley can do that to the Canberra Raiders. But look, we'll just have to wait and see. Saturday, 7:35 in the Eastern States PM and 7:05 up there in the Territory. So if you are going up there, enjoy your time up there. If you are a Darwin local, then get to the game, watch some rugby league. I'm not too sure when it will be there again. Look, Northern Territory, thank you very much for your support of the Parramatta Eels, and it's been a pleasure playing up there. I'm sure it'll all go good, and who knows, Parramatta might be back there one day. might play a trial game, or not a trial game. Might play another game there, but I don't think it'll be another 12-year stint. So, thank you very much for your hospitality and your sponsorship of this game. It was a pleasure going up there in 2018. Looked forward to getting up there one day again and just seeing more of the sights up there. But get to the game if you can. If you're up there, enjoy it. And at the end of the day, go Para. Let's get a back-to-back victory and just get that confidence going into the Easter Monday game. So a big break between games for Parramatta after this one, and let's just hope we get the win and get that confidence up, and then one more week closer until Mitchell Moses is back. Anyway, the Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. See you next time.